Welcome to another edition of Potatoandbucket. As always, I am the Potato, Zach Van Dievender, the Sultan of Slam. And beside me, as always, I have my podcasting partner in crime, the Bucket, the Force of 1,000 Suns, Michael Beckett. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, buddy. How you doing?
That is fantastic. So, alright, first topic of discussion. We just recently saw the trailer for the new Adam Sandler's movie, very video game centric, Pixels. And what'd you think?
It was interesting. I mean, it seemed like they kind of took away from like an episode of Futurama, but I mean, where Fry plays Space Invaders. But other than that, I mean, it might do all right. And he said this is going to be his last Sony picture.
From what I've heard, yeah.
I mean, it looks like it might be pretty funny. I mean, it might be one of those things where they only show the one funny scene of the movie in the trailer, and then there's something else funny of the movie. But you never know. I mean,
what was interesting to me is the special effects. I mean, they nailed the actual pixelated look of those characters, of Pac-Man, of Donkey Kong, Space Invader, shit like that. And that looked cool.
In a futuristic way.
In a futuristic way. And I mean, that looks awesome. But the thing that got me is when it says in the trailer, we sit in like a time capsule encapsulating our history and stuff, and
we used a time capsule to the moon,
and the aliens, I guess, took all the video game things of
as a message of war. Yeah.
So what if we sent like of today's video games, like of Call of Duty and shit?
Yeah, we'd be fucked.
We'd be fucked.
I mean, there'd be nothing we could do.
They'd be sending down Atlas guards and shit.
I mean, there'd be nothing we could do. I mean,
fucking Resident Evil zombies. Game
over. Fucking Raccoon City ran down upon us.
Oh, that's something else. I got the Resident Evil remastered edition for the PS4. Pretty good.
I enjoyed that. Like, how do they remaster it?
It's the GameCube version. Of course, it's 1080p or 1080p high def now. They gave it more modern controls. Like now, you can use the sticks instead of the D-pad. And also, you can execute like a 180-degree turn. It makes it easier to juke past zombies than what it was in the original. Now, of course, the same fixed camera angles everywhere you go. Where it looks like
annoying fucking camera
angles, annoying puzzles. The game is still the same pain in the ass it was 19 years ago on PlayStation 1.
That's why I never enjoyed the Resident Evil series as much as you and our other friends have. Actually, tell you the truth, the only Resident Evil that I enjoyed was Nemesis. And, I mean, that was my favorite one.
I really enjoy Resident Evil 4. That's one of my favorite games of all time.
And wasn't 5 just like watching a fucking movie?
5 sucked dick. It was too actiony, not enough horror. Resident Evil 6 was actually pretty good. I like 6. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And then the Shinji Mikami's, I think it's Shinji Mikami. It's some Japanese name. Anyway, his Evil Within, which was kind of like what he did with Resident Evil 4, which I really did like the gameplay and stuff and that. Just the story and the graphics were really good. It was just the story and the voice acting that were kind of, hindered me down a little bit. You have one of the greatest fucking actors on television, Anson Mount, from Hell on Wheels, which is a good series, actually. I like Hell on Wheels. It's a bit boring.
I could get into it, but like I just never really. I need to like watch it from the beginning on Netflix. But like, it just like it's. I like that era. I'm a big history buff, so I mean I would enjoy it, but I just never really had a chance to really.
All right, on something else. Another trailer we want to discuss. Because we went from Pixels to Resident Evil, because that's just that is just the essence of this show. We go down some weird fucking rabbit hole. Sometimes it's anal sex in the 80s. Sometimes it's Resident Evil.
Hashtag anal in the 80s.
Hashtag anal in the 80s. Hashtag iPussy. So we saw the Daredevil trailer for Netflix. What did you think? What are your initial impressions?
It looks very good. I enjoy it. A lot of stunning visuals. Great detail. Will it be good? We'll see. But
Vincent D'Onofrio as as Kingpin.
From
looking pretty badass, right?
Yes, from what I've seen of the trailer, it looks like it will be good. But then again, trailers are a way to polish a turd sometimes, so we'll have to just see. I mean, you know, the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck, it sucked fucking donkey cock.
Whoa, hey, hi. The director's cut of that movie is actually a pretty good
go
flick.
fuck yourself. I mean,
Or go fuck yourself.
Or go fuck yourself. But, you know, but, you know, it is what it is. I mean, it could be. I think it looks. I'll definitely give it a watch. I mean, they released the whole season at one time on Netflix, so I'll definitely be watching the first season and see how I like it.
But Netflix is a good way to get your TV. Now, I gotta say, some of Netflix original programming is actually very compelling and it's good. They put and the thing about Netflix is you're not hindered by network rules. So I mean, they can go violent, they can go as non-violent, they can go whatever the direction they want to go in. And Daredevil in the comics is actually kind of one of Marvel's more mature,
pretty dark
books. It's darker. It's dark, not as dark as The Punisher, but it is dark.
It's not quite as dark as Sin City either, but
no, but Sin City. Then again, Sin City's not really a Marvel movie.
No,
that was more of a Frank Miller. Which I mean,
well, I know, but
I didn't. I personally, I did not like the Sin City sequels. Was it the first one? But each to their own, I guess. Also, we saw the teaser poster for Spectre with actual James Bond adorning the teaser. What did you think?
Looked interesting. I mean, very traditional with a spy get up. You know, the black, the turtleneck with that. It looks like he's kind of going back to his roots in a sense. He's standing there with this all black outfit with his Walther in hand.
And what would you think Archer would say?
It's pretty fucking badass. I mean, Archer would probably have a gun in one hand and
a martini
in the other. But you know.
And he would probably say something like, "I am a way better looking spy than him."
I mean, you know, he'd probably like,
"God damn it, Ray!
Probably make
the turtleneck is my thing. Take off the turtleneck,
he'd probably
Ray."
Make some sexist remark to Lana and then slap her ass and then drink his martini. But you know,
this is a very funny show. I know a lot of people hate it.
I do enjoy Archer. I mean, I haven't seen the latest season yet. I heard they changed the name from because their organization's name was ISIS. And of course, we now have that terrorist.
Oh, thanks, group. Man! Now the NSA is gonna be watching our podcast.
Woo! I mean, I'm just saying,
ISIS.
I'm just saying that they actually changed the name of the.
Yeah, they
group.
changed the name. Now they're kind of a clandestine organization for the CIA, if I'm not mistaken. I forget what the acronym is now, but
Thank you, ISIS, for ruining one of our favorite animated series.
Yeah, thank you, ISIS in America, fuckers. Anyway, I liked it. Of course, I'm a huge James Bond fan, so I'm really, really excited. I mean, above my TV is a fucking 50 years of James Bond poster, and I love James Bond, so I'm really, really excited about this.
Speaking of James Bond, so far on Daniel Craig, the current James Bond, and we were talking about this earlier, this might possibly be his last.
It might possibly be his last go as Bond.
So far, we haven't seen Spectre yet, of course it's not out yet, but so far, what is your favorite?
Daniel Craig era Bond?
Yes.
Skyfall.
I agree. I'm actually surprised that was your favorite but I enjoyed Skyfall.
I mean, I like Casino Royale quite a bit, but Skyfall was just it was just a good movie in general. I mean,
that soundtrack was fucking killer.
It was, and Adele, and I can't believe we like Adele as much as we do, but
I love Adele. Ain't no shame in this game, son. I don't fucking love Adele.
No shame in this game. But she really did a good job with that title track, and that movie itself was just perfect. I mean, Javier Bardem made one of the best and most memorable Bond villains, who was actually really quite a foil to James Bond versus most of the Bond villains that were just kind of like, you don't really buy they could kick Bond's ass. But however, Javier Bardem, I mean, he really was scary and megalomaniacal, and I like that. I also, and I'm also wondering, like, after Daniel Craig. I mean, Daniel Craig has become, he wasn't when he first started out, but when that now he's become the most popular James Bond. So now who are they going to get to replace?
I don't know. I think Pierce Brosnan is probably one of the most popular James Bond.
Well, I mean, I know he is, but I mean, Daniel Craig has almost surpassed Brosnan as far as the popularity contest goes. Because
Brosnan had one of the most extensive Bond careers, but
yeah, he did. He was our '90s James Bond. He was our '90s and took
we
him
grew
into,
up with
into
Pierce
the
Brosnan.
We grew up with Pierce Brosnan.
I mean, but Daniel Craig does make a good Bond.
Daniel Craig makes a harder Bond. I have to say that makes a more darker James Bond. So
who you think who his replacement would?
Who
be?
do I think his replacement's going to be? I know that. Well, I know for a fact that Eon is looking at fucking Idris Elba, if you can believe it.
I don't know. I was thinking
But Idris Elba has already said that he thinks that he might pass on that because he thinks that he's going to get cast more on his skin color rather than his merit.
You know who I would think? This is going to sound really controversial and really weird, but Tom Hardy.
I could see Tom Hardy being Bond. I really could. I could see Tom Hardy being James Bond.
I think that he could put a spin on it. I mean,
that's not really that. I mean, I think he would make a good one. I also think I know that Eon's also talked about Benedict Cumberbatch.
He would be more of a nerdy type of guy.
I'm not so sure that he could pull it off. I mean, he could, but then again, that's just not one that I really see as James Bond. I mean, Sherlock Holmes and Bond are completely two different characters. I mean, he's famous really. Well, now, I mean, obviously, I think he's more famous.
Cumberbatch is more of a fucking Q than he is a 007.
That's true. However, Khan in the Star Trek Into Darkness, he did do a great job as Khan and was pretty scary as Khan. But as far as playing Bond,
I was disappointed that we didn't get a big Khan from
Yeah,
I was kind of disappointed in that.
But, but it is a side note. But yeah, it was good. I mean, I could kind of I want to see, and then there's also been Henry Cavill's name has been thrown around a lot. However, Henry Cavill is going to be in his own spy movie called The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is a remake of an old '60s television show. Well, he'll be playing Napoleon Solo, and then Armie Hammer is playing the Russian spy, the opposite of Henry Cavill. And this movie's set back in the '60s, and they offered the role to Tom Cruise, but Tom Cruise passed on and said no, it's a little bit too much like my Ethan Hunt. And which, by the way, Mission Impossible 5 has wrapped filming, so look for a trailer and teaser poster and all that to come very soon.
Very nice. Oh, another back to the James Bond thing. What's his name? Is it Mark Ham?
John Hamm,
the guy that plays Donald Draper,
or Mad Men.
He would be a pretty.
He would make a good Bond, man. I mean, and actually, they've never cast an American as James Bond before.
No, but if he could, kind of do some tomfoolery and get a British accent going on.
Or we look at Robert Downey Jr.'s British accent in the Sherlock Holmes movies.
I could see John Hamm pulling a fucking 007. I mean, because
Don Draper is very much a 007-like character.
Don Draper is a fucking badass. And speaking of Mad Men, the final season is
yes. Sadly, the final season is upon us.
People either with Mad Men you either get it or you don't, because if you look at it from like an obtuse point of view, it's kind of like it's just a bunch of people sitting around smoking cigarettes and drinking scotch and fucking having affairs. I mean, it's but there's a lot more of a story to it. I actually have picked up watching Mad Men on Netflix, and I have been enjoying the shit out of it.
I've heard that people think it's also very sexist.
Well, it's set in that time period.
It's set in that time period.
It's in the 60s.
Yeah. I mean,
you got to think there is a big there's a big cultural difference between now and the 60s. Women back then, I mean, this is not my own beliefs. I'm just saying, women back then, their primary role was to stay at home in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant. Pretty much the gist of it. I mean, they didn't really have. I mean, like, they was more behind the scenes, because behind every great man is a good woman, but they didn't really have a big role, and men had more say. Men wore the pants back then. You know what I mean? So, you know, it can be seen as sexist, but a lot of our the older people are the generation before us. That's just how things were.
This is a very 60s-esque podcast now, I have to admit.
I mean,
we're a title that's
it's not trying to be sexist, but I mean that's just how things. I mean, we have progressed greatly, but
we have progressed greatly in our in society. I just think that as far as like with James Bond, we were just talking about
in the old James Bond. I mean, he's always been a womanizer, but back then there was more of. In the older James Bond flicks, there was also he was a little bit more disrespectful towards women. Well, he would
also slap women in the butt. In the butt, and then he would also that sounded kind of dirty. He would slap women in the butt. Ain't no sex in the 60s. He would, but like in From Russia with Love. When he's talking to Tatiana Romanova on the train, and he actually slaps Tatiana Romanova because he's like, "Who sent you?" And then, "What do you know?" And he slaps her and and she says, "James, you're breaking my arm." And he's like, "Yo, I'll do more than that unless you tell me." Very, very sexist Bond back in the day. Now, I mean, things have changed to more. Yeah, Brosnan wasn't very sexist. I mean, his Bond was very different, but his Bond was very different. Now, Xenia Onatopp, I think she changed the formula for Bond girl back in the day. For now, because she was the one beating the hell out of Pierce Brosnan in those movies.
Yeah,
like when she's on top of him and she's like, you don't need the gun. He's like, it depends on what your definition of safe sex is. I don't know if that was a tits line. Oh, speaking of
a tits line.
Speaking of tits.
Okay.
Have you've seen the trailer for Avengers: Age of Ultron? You've seen the new trailer, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That line at the end when he was like, they look up and they see the superheroes as like a blanket of hope, and he's like, hope. That's what I'll take first. I mean, oh my God, that line was just like, wow, that was tits right there.
Why do you keep on saying that was tits? I mean,
I don't know. I like the term tits. Tits are good.
I don't enjoy tits as much as the next man, but like the catchphrase, that's tits. That never appealed to me.
Well, I use a lot of offbeat.
He said, "Hey, that's awesome. That's amazing."
Yeah, but it was tits. It was tits. It was pussy. It was tits.
Jesus Christ.
It was good. I'm very excited for Avengers: Age of Ultron.
March or
May 1st.
May 1st.
Yes, May 1st. Very excited, which we will be midnighting that shit.
Yes, we will.
Midnighting.
And we should, I think, that night we midnight, we'll be able to do a little bit of a...
We will probably come back home to do a reactionary podcast on it, and spoiler alert, we will spoil the shit out of that because we...
Well, we don't want to spoil the shit out of it.
We'll spoil the shit out of it. I also want to see, which this is next month, so I really do want to go see the new Fast and Furious. I want to see Furious 7. I want to check it out. I want to see how they
kill off Paul Walker.
They don't kill off Paul Walker, so I've heard.
They just kind of let him...
No, they retire his character in a way. I heard
fade off into the sunset.
I hear Kurt Russell is fucking amazing. I hear the fight scenes are fucking amazing. I hear the fight scene with The Rock and Jason Statham is like fucking killer. And I've also heard that, and I've seen this in the trailer, so this is not really, but in the trailers when they have the thing and it's like what can only be described as vehicular warfare. And Rock gets up and is like, Daddy's got to go to work. And he's talking to his daughter, and he just rips off the cast, and the cast that he has on his arm, And I mean, it looks incredible. I mean, I'm actually excited. Now, Fast 6, it looked like they held nothing back. I mean, as far as like over the top, but this one looks to be way more over the top.
So will this be the last Fast?
I don't know. I mean, so far they don't seem like
that's
they're...
a lot of fucking sequels to have. I mean, fucking...
So far, they look like they're not making any plans for a sequel, but I mean, that maybe, I don't know. They may have to figure out a different direction to go in.
I will give them credit to be this far into the sequels, and none of them have been direct. They've all been theater released. I mean, usually by the fourth one, they're being fucking straight to DVD, Blu-ray, streamed. They're not having a big release in theaters, if any at all.
But now we are. We're getting and honestly, they've remained consistently good.
I do like how they with 7. I like how they've tied in Tokyo Drift into the frame a little bit, because Tokyo Drift was originally just kind of like the bastard child of
the Fast and Furious.
The Fast series.
Yeah. But I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it was a new take, but it was just like that was kind of like they was gonna pretty much they almost retconned the whole entire fucking thing, and a little bit to the extent that they did, but not completely. And I like how they've kind of.
I can't wait to check it out. I want to see it. So that'd be another movie we're going to go see is the Furious 7.
We have a lot of movies to see.
And then of course this summer we're going to be busy. But
summer is blockbuster.
Summer is blockbuster season. No fucking indie films in that bitch.
I mean,
Jurassic World, Terminator Genesis,
Mad
Max Fury Road, Tom Hardy as Mad Max. Come in your pants. It's gonna be awesome.
We're gonna have a good winter too. Can't forget Star Wars.
Oh yes, we cannot forget Star Wars, the holy grail of movies.
I mean, we're gonna have
that every other fucking movie's like, we don't want no part of Star Wars. I'm surprised Bond has a backtrack.
It's been kind of funny because every single movie that's supposed to be scheduled around that time frame is either coming out sooner or
coming out later.
Yeah,
I mean
they're backing the fuck off of Star Wars.
They've shifted so many times because it's, okay. I mean, Star Wars is going to be a juggernaut. Well, okay, actually, that's something I want to talk about right now before we get into more of our usual rigmarole of news and what's up. Star Wars. Do you really think that it is still socially as relevant as it used to be?
That's a good question. I mean, it's definitely they're trying to keep it for a new audience. I mean, of course, we weren't born when the original Star Wars.
No, but we grew up. Very much with the originals in a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the remaster was in '97, but I mean, we still
think of how many remasters and special editions we've had.
That was part of our childhood. We've seen it, but these days, kids are kind of growing up with the fucking Clone Wars. They've grown up with the Clone Wars series. They've grown up with now it's Star Wars Rebels. But actually, I would almost surmise that kids today now, Marvel is their Star Wars in a weird way. Look, there's been so many comic book movies, especially Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel is kind of
DC hasn't really had too many.
DC's had Man of Steel, DC's had Batman, but now,
but look how many
Marvel is kind of
Marvel to DC as far as movies have came out.
I would say DC's had Green Lantern, but fucking Green Lantern sucked dick. I hated that movie.
I'm sorry, I'm not a DC fan.
Well, I mean, but
except for I love Batman, but other than Batman,
I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, the kids' Star Wars these days is the Marvel movies because they're very sci-fi, very cosmic oriented in a weird way. I mean, and then honestly, I would almost say that. Well, I mean, and then we got almost a Marvel Star Wars movie in Guardians of the Galaxies.
In a way, yes.
And Guardians of the Galaxies was a fantastic movie.
That was a very good movie. Surprisingly, to be a very
obscure comic. No one knew who the fuck Guardians of the Galaxy was.
As obscure as Guardians of the Galaxy was for a Marvel series, like a comic, and to just make a movie out of the blue, out of nowhere, fantastic. I mean,
a movie with a talking raccoon and a talking tree, and it did so much more. Did a lot of business. And was probably Marvel's most successful film of the summer. I mean, I know that X-Men did great, Captain America did great before. Of course, it was released before the summer blockbuster, but Spider-Man didn't do as well. But yet,
I think people kind of got burnt out on the Spider-Mans in a way.
Yeah, I think so. Now that's why Sony has leased Spider-Man to Marvel, and Marvel's leased their characters to Sony. So now we can kind of have Spider-Man in the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm down.
So, are they talking about Spider-Man going to be?
He's supposed to be in Captain America: Civil War, which comes out in 2016.
What about making an appearance?
2016.
What about making an appearance with the Avengers?
That's what they're talking about.
Really?
That's what they're talking about. It's him maybe being in Avengers 2, Avengers 3, maybe Avengers 3 and 4, because apparently now they're talking about cutting them into two films, like an Avengers 3 and then like an Avengers 3 Part 2. I don't know exactly how.
As long as one day...
Because I know that they're supposed to do the Infinity story is going to be what the Avengers 3 is going to be, is them facing off against Thanos.
Yeah, that'd be great. I just hope one day, whenever we're... Probably by the time we're old and gray, they will finally do a Civil War movie, and that would be the end of the comic book.
Well, that's what they're doing. Is this Captain America: Civil War? This is the first Civil War now, and Marvel's new relaunch of shit. They're doing another Civil War.
I mean, just a complete, every superhero.
Oh, you mean like Marvel genocide?
Yeah, I mean, just completely.
If somebody comes along and kills every Marvel hero, Becca's like, yes, thank God we've been liberated from the tyranny of blockbuster comic book movies.
I mean, I do enjoy them, but I mean, it's almost like you see them so much, and it's like you always expect them. You go and watch them, but it's like, we need something fresh. It's like when we had the era, and like the 2005 to 2008, maybe 2009, of all the fucking Seth Rogen movies with the same people. You had Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd, and Jason, what's his name? The same fucking,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think comic book movies are able to keep it fresh and diverse because there's so many stories to cull from. I mean, you don't have to tell like the. I mean, because when you think about like Captain America: The Winter Soldier is very much a spy movie. I mean, it just happens to be about a dude who carries a shield and wears a mask, but it's very much a spy movie. Guardians of the Galaxy is very much a space opera, very much a cosmic adventure. You had Iron Man 3, which is very much a tech thriller. I mean, they can, they do kind of.
It captivates me because 9 times out of 10 with today, most people have not read a single comic that, as far as any of the Avengers or any of it. Like, no one has, except for a few of us out there. These blockbuster movies, no one reads the fucking comics because there's always fucking movies coming out.
Well, I mean, I think now comic books and the movies. I think movies have made comic books more popular again because now people are like seeing these movies and they're like, oh, we want to read the books, which. That I think is very beneficial for comic book movies. So I'm excited. I mean, I think that it's a very good time. Like I say this every fucking week we do this. It is good to be a nerd now. I mean, because at one time nerds are like, oh yeah, you like comic book movies? Punched in the face, boom. You know what I mean?
Shunned. I mean,
shunned. You were like, you're a fag, and then it was like, no, because I like Superman, and it's like, yeah, well. I mean, most people are like, you're gay because you like Superman. But Superman rocks. Man of Steel was a good movie. I mean, I have my problems with Man of Steel in some ways because, first off, like, Superman, I don't think would have taken the fight away from Metropolis. But one could argue that this is Superman's kind of year one, so he didn't really know, you know what I mean? But I heard something very interesting, and I want to get your take on this. Heard something very interesting. That used to, hero movies were about the superhero stopping loss, stopping everything. Now, the hero movies of today are about minimizing loss. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean,
it's just almost like they're saying
they can't.
This would have been way worse had this guy not have been here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you can't. Even as much power as they have, they cannot completely stop things from happening.
Right, and but I mean that's also more modern in a way. That's more modern. That's not so much that's not so much your Flash Gordons of your old and Flash. Speaking of remakes in the world today, as you know, TV gets remade a lot.
Oh yes,
in different areas of in the different because we have a lot of shows that are remade from UK shows, like BBC shows. We have a lot of shows because the show Homeland. Are you familiar with Homeland at all?
I've seen it a couple times.
Okay, well that's actually an Israeli show.
Really?
Originally, I don't know what it was called. I don't even know if you can find that to watch it. So a lot of people's only show is Homeland, and which Homeland is very good. But are you familiar with the show Luther at all? It's on Netflix. You can check it out.
I haven't really.
It's really good. But Idris Elba plays Luther in that show. Now, Fox is wanting to remake this show into an American remake. But now they have stalled in their remake efforts because they can't find an Idris Elba. And, but Idris Elba is also a movie star and, TV star and all this, so he really doesn't want to come do the same damn thing that he did on BBC.
Right, it wouldn't make any sense.
But now, I want to throw this out there. The script is online. You can go actually look at the original Luther pilot script. And nowhere actually in that script is he scripted as a black man. He's scripted as a force of nature. He's scripted as an intense guy. But nowhere is he really scripted as a black man. And actually the writer of the show said, I didn't really want to do black in London because I don't really know that world. So my question is to Fox and to the Americanized, does Luther really have to be black?
I wouldn't say so because, hell, we've had, we have a black Annie now. Annie's traditionally always been white. And we have female, Justice League. It just kind of we're breaking barriers. So
ladies and gentlemen, Annie is like this whole Jamie Foxx Black Annie movie is like the Lex Luthor to Beckett's Superman. He just doesn't get it.
I don't get it, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying
no, it's not something we really get.
It's if we can take something that's traditionally been played by a black person or a white person in the past, as something that we know that a certain color plays this or a certain race, say, plays this.
It's just why not? It's also just like my argument.
But would they say, a white person that's playing a character
like Shaft?
Black? Yeah,
but now Shaft is scripted
you couldn't have a
Shaft is scripted as a black man in Harlem who's trying to navigate a white world.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's not.
You could not have a white dude play Shaft. I'm sorry.
And that would never work.
There's a whole element of swagger and soul to that.
Now, however, I would not shun a person of ethnicity or race or color playing Spider-Man. After all, in the comics we have Miles Morales, who is half black, half Mexican.
Yeah.
And I mean, people are outraged, but then in the same time, in the same instance, there's so many of these different Marvel worlds that why would it be so wrong for us to put Miles Morales instead of Peter Parker in a movie? It'd be fresh, it'd be different.
Right, definitely true. Because according to the comic books, the different eras of Spider-Man.
Right.
He's been different races. He hasn't always been just Peter Parker. There's been.
You have an Egyptian Spider-Man in the comics at some point in time. He looks like a Prince of Persia mixed with Spider-Man, but it still looks cool.
There is the type. There is.
Also, I want to point out that in the new Fantastic Four reboot movie, and I'm not really excited about this one very much at all. I have to say that I think it looks like Chronicle with the Fantastic Four. And I like Chronicle, but I'm not in. I don't know.
I'm not a big Fantastic Four person myself, but
I'm not really either. And the movies, the other older movies, I think they were okay, but they were not. I just don't. And Marvel actually canceled, believe it or not, their oldest comic, their first real comic, the first original superhero family. Marvel has canceled that title.
Really?
Yes, they have. Very out of nowhere, but yeah, Marvel's canceled the Fantastic Four title. So I don't think they have much faith in this new one either. But I want to point out that Johnny Storm in this movie is black.
Oh.
And his sister is white. She was adopted. They're adopted brother and sister.
That's an interesting take.
Different take, but I mean, at the same time, he is American. I mean, it's not like, I don't really think it plays with things too much. I've seen the trailers for this new Fantastic Four, and I'm just not really for it. And the suits, I don't think, look great. Of course, I have heard that they will be wearing the traditional blue and whatever suits, that they wear from the comics, but I'm just not real excited about it. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I never really was a big Fantastic Four person, but, it's... I mean, I'm not saying I won't go see it. I mean,
Well, no, we'll probably go see it because, we're nerds and we go check out shit like that. But
put a Marvel sticker on it, we'll go see it.
You put a Marvel sticker on porn, and we probably go check it out. I'm just saying. And also I want to just have your take on this too. Now, I told you that there was a new Vertigo series starting on on CW called iZombie. Okay, I checked out the first episode. Got to say, big fan. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Of course, to me, CW's success with their comic book properties, because you see, people talk about Gotham, but not at the rate that they talk about Flash and Arrow. I mean, every time I turn on Facebook, it's a different Arrow and Flash story. Gotham, not so much. And so I pose the question to you. Do you think that the reason why Flash and Arrow is so successful is because they follow kind of a CW formula? I mean, with the exception of Supernatural, of course, but with the CW formula of kind of making it soap opera-ish.
A lot of drama to it.
A lot of drama. I mean
there's also a lot of kind of, not to take anything from Supernatural, but there's kind of like a paranormal aspect to these shows as well that they incorporate.
Not all of them, yeah, kind of. There is.
I mean, not as overt as Supernatural, of course, but I'm just saying, like in like the Flash and the Arrow, there's kind of that little bit of a hint.
But it's also kind of like, what's so successful is, will Barry fuck Iris this week, or will he fuck her coworker? Will the Arrow fuck Felicity, or will he find a new muse to start dating? I mean, that seriously is. I mean, these guys just happen to wear fucking masks and shoot arrows and go really fast, but at the root of it, it is still kind of like, will Barry fuck this person this week, or you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It just happens to have a talking gorilla by the name of Gorilla Grodd, which I can't believe. In my lifetime, I'm going to see Gorilla Grodd depicted, even if it is on TV. I'm going to see Gorilla Grodd depicted on a screen. I mean, live. You know what I'm saying? That just blows my hair back. All right. Nitty gritty now.
Nitty gritty?
Nitty gritty. We're getting into the nitty gritty. Not so much the nitty gritty dirt band, even though they rock.
You and me
go on fishing in the dark.
Our karaoke career is not very extensive. Okay, the nitty gritty. What we got?
All right, so now, you've heard about the all-females Ghostbusters, right?
Yes, I have.
And I know we have at least one big fan of that in our midst right now. So, are you excited about this film at all?
Mm-mm.
Honestly.
To be truthful, and...
this has a point.
Okay.
This has a point to get to. I want to hear your reaction on the Vista first.
Lord send me to hell, but I'm just saying, I am not a big Ghostbusters fan.
And I can't...
I'm not.
And
I
personally can't
people hate that, but like... I'm really not. I mean,
and I can't fault you for that because we're talking about a franchise that's damn near 20 years old, and we haven't seen a movie.
Well, it's not that. I like stuff that's way, way older than me.
Well, I do too, but at the same time, we're talking about something that really doesn't have that. I mean, like the video game came out not too long ago.
I heard that was actually really good, by the way.
It was actually pretty fun. It was interesting, but it didn't exactly sell like hotcakes. But this has a point to it actually, because now, within probably 3 or 4 months of them announcing there's going to be an all-female Ghostbusters, they're like, wait, Wait a minute. There's also going to be a boy Ghostbusters film, too, with Channing Tatum in the lead role.
Is it going to have Jonah Hill in it?
No. I know that Chris Pratt's also in talks to be in the new Ghostbusters movie. They're going to be... They want to create a Ghostbusters shared universe. How do you feel about that, Bucket?
Honestly, I said I'm just not a big Ghostbusters person. I mean, I might go see it just for shits and giggles. But, I mean, as far as me jizzing my pants over it, I mean, I'm not going to be that excited. I mean, male or female. I mean, I don't see an all-female Ghostbusters cast as blasphemous by any means.
I don't. There's a lot of people that do,
I mean, it's a fresh take. But just, like I said, I'm just not, like, a huge fan. I know.
What about an all-dwarf Ghostbusters? Would you be down for that? I would like to see an all-dwarf
like Peter
Ghostbusters.
Dinklage and like
Peter
company.
Dinklage and Peter Dinklage and company.
Like Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusted shit in New York.
I mean, it's whatever. I mean, I'm sure there's been worse movies.
This week, an all-Jedi Ghostbusters was announced.
A fucking dragon sweep by. I mean, it's like, okay. You know, it's a fucking Game of Thrones and Ghostbusters mixed together.
Game of Thrones Ghostbusters.
But, you know, I know people that are like big die-hard fans of Ghostbusters. That's part of like they grew up in that era, and
but I like the first Ghostbusters. I never was much of a fan of the second one. I like the first one a lot. Bill Murray doesn't want to do it, which I mean, you know, that should say something about, I guess, the only one that's really really for coming back as Ghostbusters as the older guys is Dan Aykroyd. Who's like, I want to do it, but now the guy who played Venkman, or not Venkman, but Venkman, Zeddemore, Spangler, the science one, which was Zeddemore.
Mm-hmm.
He's dead now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ivan Reitman will be producing it, but yeah, as far as the guy who played Zeddemore, I think it was maybe Spangler. Anyway, the sciencey Ghostbuster, the one who was kind of the brains behind it, he's dead. So I think torpedoed anything they would have to do with the original Ghostbusters anyway.
No.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I mean,
but she always played that nerdy role in those movies back then. Anyways, like the 80s movies where like
there was always a nerdy role in the 80s, and those guys weren't having anal sex.
In the 80s.
Anal in the 80s. Also, okay, so now more into some current news.
I don't know how anal sex gets involved with every single thing we talk about, but okay.
It's because I'm oddly fascinated with anal sex. I don't know why, but anyway,
we need to buy you a butthole fleshlight.
Possibly. Anyway.
Hashtag butthole fleshlight.
When we start plugging Fleshlight on our podcast, they'll give us money to mention Fleshlight every episode.
I know every day before I go to bed.
Before I go to bed, I use a Fleshlight, ladies and gentlemen, and it's awesome. It helps me sleep at night.
I use the KY His and Hers warm lubricant, and I just turn it down on my butthole fleshlight.
Oh,
hashtag anal in the 80s butthole fleshlight.
Shit. Anyway, so there's a Deadpool movie coming out. Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool,
right?
And he will not be using the butthole fleshlight. So I'm told.
I hope not. I mean,
but anyway, so T.J. Miller, the guy who he played the comic-y role in the Transformers 4, which Transformers 4 Blue, but anyway, he was really funny in it.
Fuck Transformers.
He has confirmed that he will be playing Weasel in the Deadpool, which is Weasel is one of Wade Wilson's friends, one of Wade Wilson's allies. Marina Baccarin, who you can now see on Gotham as Dr. Leslie Tompkins, she is playing Copycat, a Deadpool villain.
Huh.
Are you excited about the Deadpool movie, my friend?
Yes, I mean, I'm not a huge Ryan Reynolds fan.
Well, he did fuck up Green Lantern.
Yes, he did. But, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Deadpool isn't one of my favorite as far as comic books.
He is one of my favorite characters, just for the simple fact that he was always the most smart ass. I mean, even he could almost rival Tony Stark for being a smart ass. I mean, and that's
so we'll see. I mean, I might enjoy it, but like like I said, just Ryan Reynolds he doesn't appeal to me as much as like an actor.
Now, if he were to use the anal fleshlight, would you go see that?
I mean, he just shoves a sword up his ass and sticks his dick in the fleshlight. I mean,
that would be, that would be well worth your $8 admission.
I guess so. I mean, as long as it's in 3D, folks. I mean, that's all that matters.
3D, I've noticed, is taking a back burner now. There's not as many movies coming out in 3D. I don't think any movie in the summer.
I realize it's kind of retarded. I mean,
well, I just think people don't want to pay that extra money to go see a 3D movie anymore.
$1 extra or $2 extra.
It's $3 extra.
Yeah. Really?
$3 or $4 extra.
Not much above a point.
They make TVs.
Oh yeah, and the 3D TVs, but that's not even selling anymore.
It was just kind of just a phase.
It was a fad. I mean, James Cameron, I blame him because he was like, 3D is amazing, and now nobody's like, yeah, we're not going to waste the production cost.
Oh, are they still? Is Avatar 2 still happening?
Avatar 2 is still happening. Avatar 2 is supposed to be Avatar 2, 3, and 4 is supposedly what his plan is.
Oh, fuck.
Even though the first Avatar took almost 15 years to make. So
I liked the Avatar. I mean, it was kind of...
It was good. I liked it a lot. I want to see... I'm going to watch the second one. I'll be down. I'll be there. I liked it a lot. I thought it was cool. I have heard... Now, I'll tell you one movie that I've heard some good things about. Is the live-action Cinderella movie. I've heard some good things about that. I hear that it was as good as the live-action Maleficent. And I actually really, really enjoyed Maleficent.
I have yet to see Maleficent.
And you have a daughter. You should really take her to see that. Yeah. Seriously.
She's not even 3 yet, so I don't know if Maleficent would scare her or not. I've taken her to see like Brave and Frozen and shit like that.
Frozen was a good movie.
And like I've took her to see Tangled.
Tangled was cool. I liked it.
But Maleficent, like live action Maleficent,
live action Angelina Jolie is Maleficent.
It might scare her just because like she's not like a. I mean.
I don't know. She gets
scared watching Scooby Doo on some Scooby Doo episodes.
I used to get scared watching some Scooby Doo.
So I mean, she kind of. I don't know if she could really quite handle.
But now Cinderella, you might kind of.
She could probably like that.
I would. That's something you should probably. I mean, because I've heard people really, really enjoyed that.
Because really, Cinderella isn't all that. Scary.
Oh, and now speaking of live action Disney flicks, they're basically colored from all their old Disney vaults on. Dumbo. They're making a live-action Dumbo movie.
Jesus, pulling it from the archives.
Tim Burton will be directing.
Oh, fuck no.
God, why is it automatically a resounding thumbs down for you?
I hate Tim Burton. I do. Is Dumbo going to have fucking Helena Bonham Carter in it too?
I don't know. Maybe.
Fuck.
I swear
they split up. Never mind.
I swear, the drunker you get, the ragier you get.
I'm just saying, I fucking hate Tim Burton. It's the new Dumbo, starring Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter. Fuck. I mean,
fuck. If we ever make T-shirts for this podcast, I swear to God, that is going to be one of our for that and I pussy. Fuck is going to be on prominent because that's your catchphrase.
I'm just not a Tim Burton fan. Like, it's all done the same style. I mean, the same thing can be said for fucking Tarantino, but I mean, I just don't like that quirky, gothic approach that Tim Burton has in every single fucking film that he makes. And I know that's unpopular. I know all these fucking goth nerd rage kids are gonna hate my guts, but I'm just saying.
You're allowed your own opinion. I mean, and which is weird. I wanted to address this for a second. The world we live in today, like I watch it's kind of like I listen to a podcast, but I kind of watch it on YouTube because they do the video show. Man, it's kind of funny games. It's Greg Miller, Tim Geddes, Nick Scarpino, and Colin Moriarty. These guys used to work at IGN. Okay, especially Colin Moriarty, he is the most like, what's the word for uppity game fan? And I had it yesterday, but I cannot think of what it is. But he is the most, like, if you like something that he doesn't like, it's almost like they condemn you for that shit. I mean, like literally. Like, I mean, I love The Order. I think The Order is a fantastic video game. I hate The Order. It has too many cutscenes in it. Well, fuck you, Colin Moriarty. It's a good experience. And I mean, you know, they talk about, well, at the end of the game, you think you're going to fight the big vampire guy, but you don't get to fight the big... Well, if you actually watch the story of the game, there is a reason why you don't fight Lord Hastings at that moment in time. I mean, it's... You know, A, it leaves it, you know, they introduce you to the world. B, they leave it open for a sequel, so maybe that shit will get explored in the sequel. Secondly, he can't really fight Lord Hastings at the time, because Sir Luca intervenes, and he intervenes, and he reveals Lucan to be an alpha elder werewolf.
Well, thanks for ruining The Order for me, you fucking cock. I mean, I'm just kidding. I ain't even gonna play The Order, but like
you can borrow it.
I've watched you play a little bit of it, but
and it was a beautiful game.
It looked nice,
and it was fun to play through. I mean, so and the werewolf art
going to be The Order 1887.
Well, at the end of the game, at the very end of it, spoiler alert. You know
spoiler alert.
The epilogue at the end of the game is Galahad standing on a rooftop over London, and it kind of looks like London's burning. And Nikola Tesla is getting in touch with him, and he says, Galahad. He says the order has declared martial law, and he kind of touches the thing. He's like, "Don't never fear, Nikola. I'll be along shortly. I've got something to take care of. And by the way, I'm Galahad no more." I mean, it was like, oh my god, that's so cool. The acting. I mean, you just feel this emotion coming from these people. But yeah, I mean,
you know what I want to do?
What's that?
I want to like make a little like music video, like playing The Order, and like put like the song like "Werewolf of London."
Werewolves.
That'd be good.
That would be cool.
Oh yeah,
Werewolves in London, which has the same chord progression as Sweet Home Alabama, I might add.
No shit, Sherlock.
Which is the mashup that Kid Rock used for all summer long.
Fuck Kid Rock, but like,
what really?
I hate Kid Rock.
This is a fuck a lot of people podcast today.
Kid Rock's a talentless piece of shit.
Fuck you, Tim Burton, and your goth. Fuck you, Kid Rock, and your talentless picture.
Kid Rock is okay. I'm bashing people.
But I mean, you know, back to what I was saying. I just think it's okay to like what you like. I mean, we're all adults, and
different strokes for different folks.
Different strokes for different folks. It's okay to like what you like, and I mean, I happen to really still enjoy AAA titles. I enjoy you know, the indie games, but at the same time, I really don't want to regress back to playing Super NES on my PlayStation 4.
Right. I mean, like there is good indie games that are
Helldivers, great game.
Very fun game. I need to play some more of it, actually. But it's very good co-op. It's not as fun doing it single player, but doing it co-op is actually fun. Very well worth the $20. By the way, if any of y'all on the PSN, like have a lot of friends online that like to play with, I think it's up to 4 players. Pretty fun, and it gets pretty challenging too.
That's a good game. Like I've been playing Counter Spy, which is older, but I mean, I think that's a fun game.
It gets pretty fucking hard.
Counter Spy, yeah, and it's level, and the levels are generated randomly, so your experience is different every time. So that's kind of interesting.
I've been playing on hard, like on the harder difficulty, and it's like I kind of blew through easy, and like it was like just no problem. Like on the harder difficulties, you really gotta think and like plan, like because you gotta conserve your ammo, and you gotta like take out the cameras, and you gotta like just know what type of guns to use in like each situation. It gets pretty fucking challenging.
But like Oddworld New and Tasty, I got that off my PlayStation Plus. Okay, yeah. I like it. Now that's a remake of an older Oddworld game, But the graphics are really, really cool. It's a 2D. It's kind of a platform.
It's a pretty good platformer.
But my whole thing is I don't want to revert back to playing stuff with like Super NES graphics on my PlayStation.
I don't want to play Minecraft. I think that's what you're saying.
Kinda. I mean, I want to play shit that I can get emotionally invested in. Yes, but I want to play shit with stunning new graphics and new shit. And I'm not saying that all the new shit that's came out has been great. I mean, Advanced Warfare was a disappointment, but now, however,
depending on who you talk to, some people like it, but I think some people just play Call of Duty because it's Call of Duty
multiplayer. Exactly.
Because it's a new Call of Duty, I gotta fucking play it, even though it comes out every single fucking year.
People are utterly shit on Assassin's Creed Unity, but I liked Unity. I thought Unity was fun. The graphics were amazing.
The next one will be they pretty much like kind of beta test their capabilities of this next gen, and while it looks pretty good, I think that the next one will be better.
Right. Oh, and in minor gaming news, they moved back Uncharted 4 from a holiday release to a spring release of 2016.
That's not really too surprising, but
but people are kind of pissed because they're like, that was supposed to be Sony's big holiday release. I don't think it's going to hurt Sony much but I mean, at the same time though, chances are Xbox is going to have their Halo 5 and their new Tomb Raider coming out.
Well, Tomb Raider will be for PlayStation.
No, it won't. This is an exclusive title now.
Tomb Raider is with fucking Xbox now with Microsoft. Oh, fuck my life.
Yeah.
Fuck my life.
Well, I mean, the last one at first was a exclusive, and then it later on came to.
How dare you, Tomb Raider?
Yeah, well, I have to say I'm kind of with you on this one, but Uncharted.
I'm playing fucking Tomb Raider for PS1, and
well, yeah, I mean. That's something else. This is a completely kind of new segment we're going to start right now. I want to hear your fondest gaming memory from old systems till now. Go ahead.
From yesteryear.
From yesteryear, your fondest gaming memory.
Probably me and my friends sitting around the Nintendo 64 playing GoldenEye.
That's what I thought you were going to say, because that, sir, is also one of my most fond of gaming memories.
One of my most fondest. Other than that, of course, whenever I was a young kid, when I was probably like 3 or 4, my first system was an NES, and playing and beating Mario 3.
Okay, but do you really want to be playing? Do you want to go back and start playing Mario 3 on your PlayStation 4?
No, I mean, chances are I don't have that type of Twitch capabilities. I'm an old fart now. I probably can't play platformers like I used to whenever I was young and attentive and could just fucking have the reflex of a fucking cheetah. I doubt I have that type of capabilities now. Like, I mean, yeah, because, given it's a different controller, I've tried to play, like, Sonic and also Mario on, like, an emulator for on my PC. Granted, it's using an Xbox 360 controller, so it's a little bit kind of different, and it's emulator, so you don't get the best experience possible. But I've tried, and like I realized I'm a lot slower than I used to be whenever I was a kid when I played, because I actually have to take my time jumping. Back then, I'd fucking speed run through that shit. Like, I mean, but. Like, it's a lot different experience.
To my point, I want Uncharted 4 to be the best experience that it can be. So then moving it back really doesn't affect me too much. I mean, when I think about, them having to really make, want to make the experience as tight as possible. Now, to that end, my most fond in gaming memories would be Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 1 for the PS1, Metal Gear Solid 2 for PS2. I am Metal Gear Solid 3. I like Snake Eater quite a bit. And honestly, the reason why I bought a PlayStation 3 is Metal Gear Solid 4. Yeah. And then now, I mean, we're getting ready to now. See, that's coming out September 1st. Sony's still getting that big release there of Metal Gear. I mean,
whenever you play Metal Gear, it's been a while since I played. Like, because they made one for like for Windows. I forget what it was called, but it was more. it wasn't really traditionally. It wasn't from a Snake perspective. It was from different characters' perspective.
Raiden.
Yeah, Raiden. But whenever you played, did you try to be all stealthy, or did you go loud and proud?
I think I went like more of a mixture because some things called for more stealthy approach, and some things you could go loud and proud. I mean, and with Metal Gear, it really didn't matter that much. Now, something like
as long as you could kill them and get them out of the way, and then
now something like
go sneak.
Now, good God Almighty, I'll never forget Xbox. The first Xbox days, not Xbox One, but literally Xbox.
The original
Xbox. Play it, fucking Splinter Cell.
Oh fuck!
Splinter Cell for its day had amazing graphics, but Splinter Cell was
on the PS2 too, didn't they? Or no, it was Xbox.
It was Xbox. That was where it first started. Now I think it came to PS2. But those were hard fucking games to play.
Very challenging
and annoying. In parts, very annoying. I mean, I liked them, but they were annoying. But you know, my whole thing with indie games is I like indie games. I do, but at the same time, I still want to see the try to groundbreak with new AAA titles. I don't want to be playing old games or old looking games on my PS4. I mean, I want something. I like the big experience. I like the AAA experience. Call me crazy, but I like the AAA experience.
As long as they can make it a clean, well done game instead of a
buggy
piece of shit.
I will say that I like games like The Unfinished Swan was really good. I liked Journey on and I think on PS4 I played the Child of Light, which I really enjoyed it. That was fun. But I like more AAA title. So I thought it was amazing. Well, we are approaching the end of our show.
Indeed.
So, until next time, I am the Sultan of Slam, your potato.
Sultan of Slam. Coming
at you live from the Nerd Shack, high above Gotham City. As always, you can check us out on Facebook, Potato and Bucket, all one word, because people are very confused about the all one word
Potato and Bucket.
Potato and Bucket, all one word. People are very confused about that.
I'll get it.
People search it, they were like, we couldn't find you. And I'm like, did you go all one word, Potato and Bucket? No. Well, it's all one word, folks. You can find us on Potato and Bucket on Tumblr, at Potato and Bucket on Twitter. Of course, as always, you can find all our episodes on YouTube. You can find some of it on SoundCloud until we actually get a complete SoundCloud account. But anyway, that's not the point. You can pretty much find us with whatever gets you hard socially. So, until next week, I am the Potato, the Sultan of Slam, Zach Van Devender.
I am Michael Beckett, a.k.a. The Bucket.
And the Force of 1,000 Songs.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
Or go fuck yourself. Or go fuck yourself.
I'm retired.
So, good night, and we'll see you next time.